Rob, and Ram. Nobody asked, but we give you our opinions. Acknowledge us like Roman Reigns to all his minions. Coming from the grave like our name was Undertaker. Women's wrestling is cool, but where the hell is Britt Baker? Coherence takes abandon all hope. We talk shit like Ricochet from the top rope. We are marks, sometimes we're friendly. Sometimes we show our whole ass like Mandy. We are Mick discussing what is the latest. Jericho is the GOAT, but Sid is our favorite. We are marks. We are marks.
What's going on, Marks? Welcome back to the podcast, the We Are Marks podcast. Why? Because we are Marks. I'm your host. My name is Ram, Rob, and Bob. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, America?
Happy New Year, everyone.
Allow us to be the first to wish you a Happy New Year, although just like Christmas, I assume you're listening to this after the New Year. Therefore, let us be the last to wish you a Happy New Year. We are here to talk about wrestling. It's the final week of wrestling of 2025. It kind of feels like it's blown by. I did plan on having a game today. Unfortunately, I have children, and I only got halfway done. But one thing that it did reiterate and remind me is of all of the things that seemed like they happened in years past that happened this year. And when we close the show, we'll bring up some of that stuff, kind of do a run down memory lane, if you will. But first, we must talk AEW's World's End, which was this weekend. I mean, we got some things to talk about. AEW's cooking, but this is, and maybe you could put this on my wish list for 2026. God, I want AEW to just have coherent, consistent storylines. I want them to have the same guys they're building on TV every week. I don't want to see a guy win a big match and then be off TV for 2 weeks. I would really love to see AEW continue this momentum and not just what feels like it's us saying after every pay-per-view, wow, I really hope they build off the momentum of this great pay-per-view. And then not really building up too much after that, and then we get to the next pay-per-view, and it's like, wow, I really hope they build off of this great pay-per-view. So, AEW's World's End pre-show. Oh my God, were there 4 matches on the pre-show?
Yeah.
That's too much. Let me just say something, though, since we're here. Number one, that feels like too many matches for a pre-show. Number two, I love matches on the pre-show. You know what I mean? Like, WWE doesn't do it anymore. They don't have matches on the pre-show.
I mean, did you watch the pre-show?
No.
Neither did I. So even when I went to Full Gear, I think I saw one match at the pre-show, the one that went into the real show. Which they didn't do this year.
Did
this
they
month.
do it on YouTube still?
0 hour?
Yeah.
I've never seen the pre-show.
I was going to make the excuse that the WWE ones are more accessible because it's just on the show I'm about to watch beforehand. So it's nice to just put that on while I'm cleaning, and I don't really have that luxury with an AEW pay-per-view I'm definitely paying for.
I don't know if you have to buy them first, but I know they're also on Amazon Prime, but you may need to actually get the pay-per-view before you can just start watching that.
Yeah, you have to buy it off Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I meant the pre-show. Like, I've gotten the pay-per-view and the pre-show's on, so I don't know if you can watch it and then.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, here we go. AEW's World's End started out with. We're going to talk more. Okay, here's the deal. Honestly, we've been waiting for this match to happen, right? I kind of feel like it didn't hit as well as it should have because it was just part of the tournament instead of like a really worthwhile build to this. What is a monumental match, really, especially if you're a Japanese wrestling fan. This is like your past superstar and your current future superstar in Okada and Takeshita. And I felt like it deserves more than just being a semifinal of a tournament. Just in my opinion. What do you guys think about that?
I think it will be.
Yeah, but this was the first one.
Okay, but
one.
you, Ram, you just said it that if you're a Japanese wrestling fan, over in New Japan when they battle for that title after Okada retires Tanahashi, and they do it over in New Japan in the Tokyo Dome, and Delv Meltzer gives it 6 stars because it's in the Tokyo Dome. That's gonna be their big match. This match, Okada won with a screwdriver. So I do feel if they were smart, and New Japan tends to be smart with these things, they'd have a much bigger match and let them build even more to that match by using this.
I mean, I guess totally with the screwdriver angle, totally. That could be what's happening. But I just feel like the first one should have been the big one. And if that was the case, they could have done this job a different way or in another situation. That was the other part to it, was this Continental Classic thing. I thought it was all fair play. I thought it was all fair play. And we got a cheating Don Callis. And I mean, Okada getting the win.
Yeah, really the main thing with the match was the finish, and I've kind of gone back and forth with it. He did build the Continental Classic up to be this, if anybody interferes, if anything happens, somebody gets fired. So I wasn't in love with the idea we're going to have a cheating finish that, quite frankly, unfortunately, I don't think this was the plan, but the referee kind of had to have seen because of the positioning of where everybody was. So that was a little whatever. I kind of gone back and forth with it, but I do think I agree with Rob. This wasn't the match. This wasn't going to be the big match. It wasn't the big match between the two of them. And because of the finish, the way it was, it makes you want to see Takeshita and Okada again, which is good. And, we'll get to the other matches, but I thought, the screwdriver finish did lead to other things. So it made sense in that regard.
No more thoughts, Rob?
I mean, I already said my thought. I'm waiting for their Tokyo Dome, New Japan final battle,
Yeah, well, here's my other issue with that, is that these are 2 AEW contracted stars. And if you're going to have your big match, quote unquote, in a New Japan show, I feel like that's a big miss. Huge miss.
Well, but the way it's going, then they shouldn't have had the match at all.
They shouldn't have had the match at all. Yeah, that's my opinion. They shouldn't have had the match at all. Maybe
you might be right, but if they can continue to build on this, and if I'm New Japan, I'm telling them to build on this. I don't know what else to say. It's not done. It's not done. Okada's going to retire Tanahashi. Okada's going to say, I'm in line for that title. And that's going to be their big match.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Takeshita winning that match.
And the only way us American fans are going to be able to see it live is going to be at 3:00 in the morning. And most of us aren't going to.
But Ram, as you said, that match isn't for us. That's for your Japanese wrestling fans.
No.
That was your exact words.
They are Japanese wrestlers. That's the only reason. They are AEW contracted stars. They are American wrestling stars at this point. This is a huge miss for AEW, letting New Japan have their big match, quote unquote.
You're absolutely right. It is a huge miss for AEW, but it's New Japan's most prestigious title and the most prestigious title in all of Japan.
That may be the case. I mean, you're correct. That is the most prestigious title. And it may be the case that there's going to be a New Japan match, but I don't think that there's not going to be a Takeshita Okada big match on AEW. I don't think you could possibly have done what they did and not have this lead to another match between the two of them. It may be one of a series, and one of those matches may be on a New Japan show, but I don't think you're doing that finish and then saying we have to go get New Japan World.
They could absolutely have a match at New Japan that rivals this one, but their quote unquote blow off needs to be on an AEW pay-per-view.
And it will. And you saw throughout the show, and I don't want to get ahead because we're going to talk about everything, but I feel like the way they positioned it, you couldn't have the split up, you couldn't have the big match, because they still need to kind of be a team based on where it seems like they're going. So, they had to let it simmer a little bit longer.
They need to continue to be a team right now.
Well,
or
it seems
before
like,
this match.
I mean, I'm thinking that this may lead to a Don Callis. Everything that happened, I'm thinking may lead to Death Riders and Don Callis family, and you can't really do the complete split up if.
I don't think so. I think we're doing a Don Callis implosion. I think the Civil War is about to happen. And I don't think it's two factions anymore. I think it's three.
It did look at points that it was going to lead to a Don Callis family Death Riders program, but right now, where I sit, in my feelings, if Takeshita shows up on Wednesday with Don Callis, he's a fucking moron, and I'm done. I'm done with it. He's an idiot. But what more can you say? At this point, Don Callis and Okada specifically screwed him in the Continental Classic by planting the weapon and using the weapon, and then Don Callis left him in the ring and walked up with Okada bowing. Fuck out of here! You could say
that even further. I mean, the guy that really should be pissed off is Kyle Fletcher because that was his screwdriver, and
but even to that, exactly. But even so, Takeshita was not the one that was supposed to have that screwdriver. So Okada knew about it, and Fletcher was supposed to have it. That leaves Takeshita out. And if I'm Kyle Fletcher, I'm pissed too. I think we're going to have a split faction. Why there's 20 people in the Don Callis family so that we can have a 5-on-5-on-5.
Just in my opinion, though, Fletcher can be mad at Okada, but he doesn't really have a reason to be mad at Don Callis. Takeshita does, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time believing that Don Callis wasn't in on it, but
for sure.
Get your point.
For sure, but you can suspend disbelief in the manner. For Takeshita, you can't, because it was right there in front of your face. You got screwed by Okada. Don Callis knew it, and instead of, hey, fair is fair, nothing, not even a conversation, walked up to the ring and almost seemed like he was doing a bit of mocking towards Takeshita.
Yes. I mean, I agree with you. I think there will be a split. I think that's where we're going with this.
Oh, there's for sure going to be a split. I mean, and I'm not suggesting that this is going to be some month or so long thing. I'm not sure. They may give it one last try as being a unit on Wednesday or further to do a match with the Death Riders or something like that, or they may all just blow up on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we're blowing up on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. We're going to have to see what happens here, because just from the Takeshita perspective, number one, my man's already over as a babyface. Let's make the move. It's about time. And number two, I mean, he legitimately, and it's been going on for months, where it's been very clearly Don Callis favors Okada over everybody else, especially Takeshita. This has to be the final straw. This is the straw that breaks the camel's back. I cannot be a part of this anymore. It's got to be.
Absolutely. It's been dragging on for way too long, personally. If you're going to do it, go into the new year and do it. But this has to be it. Or else I think I agree with Ram that if Takeshita shows up and is like, oh, it is what it is, that's not really babyface-like of you now, is it?
No, and I don't suspect that. I think there's going to be a lot of pissed off. I think Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita, I would imagine, are going to be pretty pissed off. I mean, Okada cheated to beat him, too. So he did take a screwdriver in the face. I don't think, it's going to be pleasant. It's just a matter of, can Don Callis extend this at all, or do they totally split up on Wednesday?
Yeah.
And tune in next time to the next. No, I'm just kidding. Jon Moxley in the other semifinal defeats Kyle Fletcher to advance to the championship. And listen, we're going to talk a little bit more about this after we talk about the final. But going into this pay-per-view, this was my feeling that Jon Moxley was the only one not a part of the Don Callis family, so he was probably going to win. And that's, that's what we got to. And if you would have asked me last week how I felt about that, I would have been like, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. Why would you do that? If you ask me today, that was the right call, man. it was the
And
right
all
call.
our 12 listeners that are listening, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, please go back and listen to just what we said about this match and about how me and Ram talked about Jon Moxley winning it. And now listen to this and understand what the power of fans can do. That's the only thing I can think of, because about a quarter way through that match with Fletcher, you realize that Jon Moxley was a hero to these people. And I think Fletcher and Moxley realized that he was a hero to these people. And the whole demeanor of that match changed. Jon Moxley was a babyface on Saturday night. And Jon Moxley will get the promo he had in between the finals and the semifinals about how he said, this is a good time to die. This is a good hill to die on. The Continental Classic is a good hill to die on. I'm sitting there and I'm like, you want to know what? All right, let's get behind this, man. I got no problems with what happened.
Yeah, this was the match of the night for sure. I mean, this was a hell of a match. Kyle Fletcher, I mean, we've talked about him. The year he's had, I mean, I think as far as great matches, he probably has the most great matches of any wrestler in any company, to be honest. I mean, there's so many, Ram was talking about looking back on the year and you forget how many great matches Kyle Fletcher, whether it's been a part of or been a one-on-one match. I mean, the guy's incredible. But Saturday night, I mean, Jon Moxley was the MVP. I mean, he was incredible in just everything. I mean, the whole performance I thought was great. The turn was done great. We had talked for weeks. I mean, we all had said, how the Death Riders would break up and the way to go about it. Jon Moxley shouldn't win. I mean, not Ram picked him, but begrudgingly. I had thought Fletcher should have won, and you know what? The idea I had would have been worse. It would have been worse than what they did Saturday night. That what they did was better than anything I thought they could have done. So yeah, it was great. And it's a shame that there's no longer a dentist that works at AEW because he could use one after.
Oh, she still works there. She's
Would
still
be a great
employed by
gimmick.
them.
Where is she?
I don't know. Where the hell's Britt Baker? Bob,
I mean,
where's Britt Baker?
If Tony Khan is paying Britt Baker, he should tell her to come on Wednesday and do a cameo fixing Jon Moxley's tooth. I mean, if she's getting paid by the company, because that would be good.
Yeah. So hey, last week I couldn't think of a face turn of the year. Give me Jon Moxley. I don't know how long this was the plan. Like, based off of the way the match went and the fact that he won the Continental Classic and he cut the promo, I'm going to say that he was planned to win. Like, they didn't change it that day. So I think this was the plan. I would want to go back on the past few weeks, pretty much since he lost the title, and listen to what he said and see if there's like Easter eggs that are telling me that, no, I'm changing face here, because I did see that there are guys in AEW who are tough as hell and worthy of being part of this company,
So he did a promo. It was a couple when he lost his first two matches or whatever it was. And Pac wasn't on the steps, but he's sitting there talking about how he just has to get tougher and he needs to get down, dig deeper and stuff like that. That's really the only promo I could think of that made me see that. But man, I just think that he just is so gritty, and like him breaking a tooth and bleeding from the mouth. Like, how can you not cheer this guy?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Moxley though has been, I mean, definitely heel. He's been a heel. I'm not saying that, but there is a part of him where it's like he tapped out, but he's not really a give up and cower guy. So I mean, there are some babyface qualities there. I'm not saying it's been this huge turn, whether it was planned or not, but he has had some babyface qualities. I mean, his pep talk after tapping out the second time to the Death Riders about, we will fix this and we will win and all that stuff. I mean, there's definitely babyface things that he has said and done. And, I think it worked perfectly on Saturday.
Yeah, I I don't know. I think it was hard not to cheer him.
Yeah.
And Ram says that it was the plan. I think it was the plan for him to win it, but I don't know if it was the plan for him to get the babyface cheers and him cut the promo afterwards. Because there was nothing leading up to this that said anything about that.
Other than him being the only non-Don Callis family member in the semifinals. That's the only thing.
Right.
Like, otherwise, if you think about it, it's just 4 heels in the tournament. That doesn't make a ton of sense.
Right. I don't know. I honest to God think Takeshita was supposed to come out of here as the babyface, but Jon Moxley's Jon Moxley, man.
We have spent all of 2025 saying, Jesus Christ, I just want Jon Moxley to go away. And here we are in the last episode of We Are Marks of 2025, acknowledging Jon Moxley as the top babyface in AEW.
Bob might have been right that Jon Moxley is the wrestler of the year.
I mean, to go a step further, I was right there with everybody. I wanted Jon Moxley to lose the title. And I mean, goddamn, I was watching that Saturday night and I was like, I kind of want this guy to be the champion again.
And I'm not going to lie, like, when he won his first match, his tooth is broken and he's bleeding. And he's I'm just like, God damn, this guy is awesome. Like, give me more of Jon Moxley like this. Don't give me the chicken shit heel that taps out to Sting and sugar-coated glass. Give me this Jon Moxley. This is the guy I want.
Yeah.
If he comes back on Wednesday with Wild Thing playing, MJF,
that place will go nuts.
You're going down, man. You're going down.
That place will go nuts. And really, like, listening to his music now, it doesn't fit for a babyface. Yeah. Really, he should definitely come out.
The Death Riders are going to turn on him. That is happening.
Maybe
at least one of them will.
I just have a hard time right now, and again, on my list of wishes is. Oh, I didn't send them to you. But
no, you haven't sent it to me yet.
Is that Claudio would get a legitimate singles push. However, current standing, I just can't see any of them really standing on their own. None of them are a leader. None of them are the leader of a pack.
But I could see Frodo Baggins going rogue.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, Pac's another one that I would really like to see get a legitimate push.
He wasn't out when Moxley. Victory.
We were talking offline, and you said that, and I'm like, I can't remember him in any of the vignettes for a while now.
He'd probably have to go back home again.
Underneath the great tree.
Something like that.
Oh, you want to know what? It's Christmas time. You had to go to the North Pole.
Could be. My brother-in-law, back in the day when he was Neville in WWE, used to say he looked like a Dorito. Say he's shaped like a Dorito.
Kind of, yeah.
When he had the long hair and he was like
the long haired and the chiseled chin, yeah.
He wasn't skinnier per se, but he was like leaner, right? Because he was younger and the face was a little tighter. He did really look trolly.
And he wore the triangle thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Due to technical difficulties, the Podfather Ramsey will no longer be part of this episode. We are sorry for the inconvenience. Now, back to Rob and Bob on the We Are Marks show. Bob, what's the next match? I don't have the list in front of me.
Next match, FTR versus the Bang Bang Gang.
It was FTR versus the Bang Bang Gang. I really don't like how much people kick out of finishers that should be protected. Like the Shatter Machine should be protected. Juice Robinson should not be kicking out of the Shatter Machine. And that's gonna be my problem with most of AEW, is that it just doesn't work for me, brother. I know I got that old school mentality, but I still feel like a finisher should finish unless it's a major match and you're putting your heart and soul in it. You just won't give up and you're that baby face and you need that extra oomph and you get that shoulder up at the last second, not during a tag match that you know who's going to win. That's my problem.
I completely agree with that. That's one of my pet peeves, across wrestling is the finishers getting kicked out of, especially multiple. I mean, to me, it just totally demeans the move
Right.
when you're kicking out of 3 of them, especially when it's not as big of a match, like you said. But I felt like this match was kind of as predicted. It was a good match. It wasn't this huge, exciting match that we were, looking forward to, but it was a good tag team match. FTR, Ram always says the best tag team in the world, and they looked the part, I thought, Saturday. And, I like the Bang Bang Gang. I like the Guns, but definitely it wasn't their time on Saturday.
No, and again, to your point, the only thing that I really remember from that match that stands out is Stokely Hathaway's bump that from a table that didn't break, and he slid off and he almost broke his neck on the announce table. That's really the only thing I remember from this match. So good match, yes. Memorable match, not necessarily.
No, and I expect that we have to be getting close to Christian and Cope getting back. And that seems like the direction. And I think, whatever, I know there's mixed feelings all over the internet about Christian and Cope, but definitely from a storyline perspective, which I do think would be good for FTR as they're the champions moving forward, to have a story and to have, a match with those guys will be good moving forward. So
yeah, it's got to be Christian and Cope. I don't know. I hope that Cope gets, healthier and can wrestle again. And maybe in a tag team, he won't have to do as much. But I don't know. If that's the direction we're going, I'd rather have it sooner rather than later, because I feel like we're going to hold off on that till All In, and I don't want to see that at All In. I'd much rather see a younger team like the Jurassic Express or even the Young Bucks win the title again than Cope and Christian at All In.
Yeah, no, I think a couple matches to start the year would be good. I agree. I think it'll work. I'm excited for the idea of Christian and Cope as a team. I think that tag team will be a good spot for them to get in, tag out, all that stuff. And especially with a team like FTR, they're not going to be asked to be jumping off things. Those guys don't work that way, and I think it'll be a good mix.
No flips, just fist. That was before FTR. That was the revival.
And that's right in the wheelhouse of what Christian and Cope should be doing.
Right.
So the next match was the Babes of Wrath against Mercedes and Athena.
I really just want to see more of Athena. I do. Get her on AEW now.
Yeah, no, she's great. I think the ROH title can definitely go somewhere else or be used on television if they want to keep it on her. But I definitely think she should be on Dynamite more. I thought the story of this match, Rob, you were kind of Nostradamus about what's going on with Mercedes Mone. And I thought the loss was good to build up Wednesday. They're going to do the TBS title match. Willow versus Mercedes, and I think that's the perfect way to follow it up. It's definitely, that was the one thing throughout this pay-per-view. I think the last couple AEW has done a lot better job. You go back 6, 8, forever ago, a lot of these pay-per-views, they were incredible, but they were standalone. You didn't leave the pay-per-view going, oh, I really want to watch Dynamite, because it was just kind of a lot of great things, and the what was next wasn't always presented. And quite frankly, between the Death Riders and this, it's like, I'm excited for that match. I'm curious if Willow wins.
And yeah, exactly. I know Ram just said, I hope that they build upon this. They've built upon this. You go back, the Hangman and Samoa Joe, that was a 3-month-long rivalry. Like, I'd rather have that than just a month and all right, back of the line. Because you can't tell a story within a month. Now, when they used to do 3 months in between pay-per-views and stuff like that, that was fine. But if you're going to do a month, I'd rather have a rivalry happen in a 3-month span than that. I think they're doing very good. And I know they brought up how Sports Illustrated gave them all these accolades. I truly, honestly believe that from January to December, AEW was the best promotion. Maybe not ratings wise, maybe not money wise. I don't care about that. I care about what is on my TV and how entertained I am by it. From January to December, AEW was the best. Was it the greatest of all time? No. Was it better than WWE? Absolutely. So they are getting much better with their storytelling. They're getting much better with their linear progression. They're getting much better with keeping me. I mean, we said it last week, at Full Gear too. I want to watch tomorrow night's Dynamite after a pay-per-view to see what happens. And that's all I want a pay-per-view to deliver, and I want to be excited about what happens next. And there's a lot going on in AEW that I'm excited for. And the fall of Mercedes Moné has been a 12-month buildup that I am waiting for the demise of, and we're getting it now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, the keys to a pay-per-view or a PLE is, whether you're accessing it on, streaming, if it's WWE, or it's purchasing it with AEW, you want to feel like you spent your money to good use, and you want to feel like you spent your money to see something that other people couldn't see, which AEW has always done that. But you also want to, feel like it's important and leading to something and makes you want to watch the show, which I think now they're doing that back end very well. And throughout the pay-per-view, there was things that definitely wanted to see. As far as the match, it was, I would say, better than expected, because I did not expect it to lead to that Mercedes and Willow match.
So I just want to point out, and another reason why I want to see Athena actually get TV time, Willow Nightingale is a big, beautiful woman, and Athena can pick her up and slam her down, not with ease, but Athena's a tiny woman. And I bet you Willow's about twice her size, and she still can pick her up and throw her around. Please, Tony, I know the forever title means a lot to people. I bet you we have more viewers on this podcast than Ring of Honor does. But it's time to give Athena more of a platform. Let her get her glory. She deserves it.
And I do think, with that match and the way it was set up, that hopefully, I think Willow may win on Wednesday. I think this downward spiral of Mercedes is going to continue. I sort of expect Willow to win. And, if Mercedes is going to lose everything and then try to build it back up to win the AEW World Championship, then Athena would be a great person to work with Willow as the champion.
Absolutely.
So I think that could work really nicely if it's handled that
And
way.
I said during our prediction show, I would like to see Athena take that TBS title from Mercedes Moné. If they want to give it to Willow and have Athena take it from Willow, I'm okay with that too. But it's time for Athena to come up to the main roster. If Ring of Honor is their NXT, it is time for Athena to come up to the main roster.
Yeah, she knows what direction the hard cam's on.
Right.
She can
Absolutely.
get called up to the main roster. Next is Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. So I know two of the podcast favorites.
He said that he was a knockoff Lars Sullivan, and like every time I see Gabe Kidd now, that's all I can think of is I got Lars Sullivan off of Temu. It was a Darby Allin Gabe Kidd match. There was nothing that I wasn't expected. I was a little surprised that Darby Allin won with a roll up. Like, you kept Gabe Kidd strong from Darby Allin. So we talked about weird booking from AEW, and again, I gave him credit 10 minutes ago. No company's ever going to be perfect. The Darby Allin booking is very confusing to me. They were building him up to be like a title contender, and now we're squeaking past Gabe Kidd. We need Sting to come in and break a fish tank to beat, Jon Moxley. I don't know what we're doing with Darby Allin. I don't want him to be world champion, but there was a time where you looked at him and you're like, all right, they're building him up for that big run, and it just never happened.
Yeah, sorry. No, I agree. That was one takeaway that I had during the match was almost Gabe Kidd was, excuse me.
There you go. That's
Kidd,
better.
Gabe Kidd was definitely positioned as strong. You know, I said it before Ram made the Lars Sullivan comment. I do like Gabe Kidd. I think that there's some potential there. I'm not sure with Darby what they're seeing. It seems like he is really on the show right now just to do crazy stuff. And, you know, there's really not as much story side. I mean, there is a story, but it just kind of seems like they're in limbo with him. So I'm not really sure what's next. But he's definitely not being positioned as a future challenger right now, in my opinion.
But
He seems
I mean,
like
6 months ago he was. You know,
and he
I
definitely.
mean,
I
we
get he
were
kind of
talking
has
about
to do it. He's a small guy, but it does seem like he is the car crash on television show right now.
So it was like a year ago we had this argument, me and you, about how you saw Darby Allin as a world champion. Do you still see Darby Allin as a world champion?
No, and this was kind of, you know, kind of where my thought process is going is, you know, I've seen a lot of people compare him, you know, at one time I did too, Jeff Hardy, or even Mick Foley. And, you know, I think sometimes what people forget is, you know, there were other things those guys were doing on the show besides this car crash stuff. And I think that with Darby right now, there's no layers. It just seems like car crash. And that's not to say there's not storylines. I'm sure someone's going to hear this and they're going to bring up, oh, well, yeah, this story and this story and this story. But, you know, Mick Foley wrestled real matches. You know, Jeff Hardy wrestled real matches. I feel like when you go back, when Darby was a TNT champion, he was doing that. And somewhere we've lost sight of that. And there's not as much wrestling as there is jumping off of things. So,
I mean, it's not just that. You think about what made Mick Foley. Mick Foley was one of us. You know, Mick Foley was that guy who was a fan who's getting thrown off Hell in the Cells. If Mick Foley doesn't almost die in that Hell in the Cell, we have no sympathy for him. He's not a babyface. He probably doesn't win a world title. You know, Jeff Hardy, again, he was one of us. Darby Allin is that weird emo kid who still listens to My Chemical Romance. Like, it's hard for us to sit there and be like, he's one of us. You know, he might look like one of us, but he doesn't act like one of us.
Yeah. And, you know, to your point with Foley or Hardy, or, you know, even from a technical side, but a guy that did, you know, obviously paid the price, did a lot of crazier things, Bryan Danielson, in the sense, you know, his matches were so strong style that, you know, he was putting his body on the line. But they did that stuff to catch our attention. They weren't huge, big, you know, Batista looking guys. They caught our attention, and then once they caught our attention, they showed us the layers.
Right.
And I feel like with Darby right now, we're getting the eye-opening stuff, and then we're not following up with that character or the things that are going to make you go, "Oh, I relate to this guy." You know, once you get past that, you know, people talk about the Hell in a Cell, but then Foley did a lot of other stuff in the ring because he didn't need to do that as much anymore. He still did it, but it wasn't on a weekly basis. He wasn't doing that on Raw every Monday. So, you know, I think that's where they need to find a way to get with Darby if he's going to continue. If there is any hope that he's going to be the champion, he definitely needs some more layers to it, because I don't see it right now the way it's
absolutely
positioned. So the next match, the old Mixed Nuts Mayhem match, the Conglomeration and the Death Riders.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever saw a slow dance salsa into a wrestling match before?
I have not, but if you saw the views, 70.5 million people, or at least view it, has been viewed that many times now.
So make sure you guys check out our YouTube channel. We'll have our top 10 wrestlers of the year on there by Friday, hopefully. Toni Storm is the only female on that list for us. Toni Storm is the only person that could pull off something like this, and us absolutely love it. Like, if Rhea Ripley tried to do this, we tear her apart. If Mercedes Moné tried to do this, we tear her apart. For some strange reason, Toni Storm can do something like this in a mixed tag team match and get away with it because she's that damn good. Like, only Toni Storm.
Yeah, No, I mean that character, if she's still, I mean, we'll get to the women's match, and I'll talk a little bit more about this then. But she's the number one woman on the show. You are not putting this 5-on-5 match with the conglomeration and
No,
even the Death Riders, who
right.
are one of the top
Without
fighters.
Tony Storm, this match does not exist. And I'm going to say this: Maria Shafir, the promo that they did before the match with her monologue, it was really good. And I really hope Marina Shafir, after the whole Death Riders turn on Jon Moxley, does get more of a opportunity. I want to say a push, but I do want to see an opportunity to see if she can get farther. But Tony Storm is just that good. I mean, you think about Tony Storm's year. She actually had an amnesia gimmick in the beginning of the year where she used her gimmick from another company to play mind games with Mariah May, and we loved it. Okay? She had a Hollywood ending match that was half wrestling, half movie, and we loved it. Like, Tony Storm literally can do nothing wrong because her character is so strong. They put her in the tag team division because she made the world heavyweight division, not world heavyweight, the women's division, that good that they no longer needed her to carry it. So they put her in a tag team division to try to carry that and make that worthwhile. And after Willow and Harley Cameron beat those two, everyone's like, well, they're legit because they beat Tony Storm.
Yeah.
Tony Storm is the best women's wrestler on the planet.
Yeah. Especially when you talk about the complete package. I mean, she's, we say top women's wrestler, but really, I mean, we have her in our top 10 of the year. It is men and women. She's at the top. It is not just. And I'm not saying that in a sexist way.
We did not have the reason I didn't say the best. She is one of the best. We have her at number 4, in case anybody was wondering. She's number 4. But we had men above her. But as far as women go, nobody can touch her.
Yeah.
Not even close. Not this year. Not even close.
No, and I wasn't getting into accusing you of sexism.
No. I know. I get what you were saying.
Yeah. But,
I get what you were saying. I just, I like, she's in the mix for the best all around this year, but women, not even close. Not even close.
Yeah, and going off of that, the next match was Chris Statlander beating Jamie Hayter. I thought it was a good match. The only thing I will say is they do need to build these women up on the character side to get people to care. People weren't as interested, and I know they just saw Tony, and that was kind of one problem that I felt. I really like Statlander. I really like Hayter, but it kind of felt like, I go back to the Attitude Era. It was like Austin's not the champion, and we got Kane and the Undertaker in the main event, and people are like, I want to see Austin.
and that was, I thought the same thing when they were wrestling. I was like, this is kind of a letdown because I just saw Tony Storm be Tony Storm.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a good match. Tony Storm was just Tony Storm, and she made that match. And then you went to the women's title. Maybe you should have separated a little bit, or maybe you should have put the mixed nuts. See, even that's ridiculous. Maybe you should have put the mixed tag after the women's match. It was a solid wrestling match. But again, there wasn't anything there that makes me go, okay, I want this feud to continue, or I want to see more of Statlander and Jamie Hayter. Nothing happened that made me go, I want more of this.
And I know that, Statlander did beat Tony Storm. So I don't, when I say this, I don't want to make it seem like they haven't done any of this at all. But I do think it's tough, if we were going to say who are the top 2 women in AEW are, it's, Tony and Mercedes. I think we'd all agree. And it's a little bit tough when you do have the title match, and the feeling is probably it's 3 and 4. And I think that maybe, I know they want to probably hold off on a Statlander Mone. She's doing other stuff. Tony's kind of doing other stuff, but it just feels like they need a little bit more star power to go with Statlander to potentially get her to
And
the level you want to get her to.
and to your point of that is after we just said Tony Storm is the best woman, not even close. You have Mercedes Monet as that second, and the drop off between it goes Tony Storm, Mercedes Monet, and you can't even see my hand anymore is Chris Statlander. And Chris Statlander is a good wrestler, but as far as wanting to see more of her, no. It's not that I want her to go away, but it's not like, oh, I'm here to see Chris Statlander. I'm never going to buy a Chris Statlander shirt. You know? That's the way I look at it.
And I think in both cases with Hayter and Statlander, it's tough. You need to get people. You need to use the star to get these people to that level that you want to see them more. And I just think that they haven't really solidified that enough. And I think it showed in that match. But the wrestling was great. It's just from that side of things.
But and to the point, what's Statlander's gimmick?
Right.
It's a wrestler.
Well, in both cases with her and Jamie, they've changed whether it's gimmick or look,
But like Statlander is just a good wrestler. That's it. That's all she is. There is no gimmick.
Yeah, and even in AEW, I mean, case in point on Saturday, that's only going to get you so far. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And we talk about AEW where it's a little bit more, the wrestling, and still, Saturday night that wasn't enough.
You need some character work to make me want to watch you pretend to fight somebody.
Right. Was there any more? I know we talked a lot of Moxley. Any more thoughts on the Moxley?
Nah, I mean, we brought up his gutsy performance. We brought up the after promos. Jonathan Moxley is the biggest babyface in AEW right now after a year of him being the biggest dickhead possible. I don't want to call it a double turn because Okada's been a heel, but like the babyface turn that happened out of nowhere, I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time. It felt organic to me. It felt like on the fly. They were like, all right, we need you to cut this promo about how you're willing to die on this hill right before this match. And then after the match, cut a promo about how you love this place so much and you respect everyone who did this tournament and you're the best ever. Like,
yeah. I know, I've seen online there's been some sort of negative about the promo, just because AEW has had a lot of these. Guy comes out and talks about how great AEW is, on Dynamite or whatever. We've seen it before. But I really thought, and you said it with this promo, it was so necessary really to solidify this change in Moxley. I mean, you talk about a guy 6 months ago as the champion who the belt was in a briefcase. We didn't see it. We weren't allowed to see it. Jon Moxley basically said everyone on the roster was not tough. They were not as tough as he was. He wanted to turn them into tough wrestlers. And then to see Moxley be the one that cuts the promo saying that everyone, this is for every guy, so many tough competitors wearing the belt, holding the belt. I thought those were just little added things to this turn that really were great. So it's definitely interesting going forward with the Death Riders, how they respond to this newfound Moxley. Because no one else in the group, I mean, quite frankly, an interesting part of this is 2 matches ago, we were talking about Death Riders, and they weren't really a cohesive babyface group in that conglomeration match. So
no, I do think I'm not sure, but I do think Pac and Claudio go do their own thing because Pac and Claudio can be mid-card heels without Jon Moxley. I really think Daniel Garcia is kind of be like Jon Moxley's, inherited son. Like he's just gonna follow Jon Moxley to whatever he's doing because Daniel Garcia doesn't really have a gimmick either, other than he wears weird shorts now. But I feel like that's like Jon Moxley's gonna take him under his wing and be like, kiddo, much like Sting did with Darby Allin.
Yeah, and I think that's a good spot for him because he's got the tools. It's just that character and that extra. But again, I agree with your point you made it earlier about Marina. I definitely think she's someone, she's really the one. I think Ram said it earlier that there's no one that can be a clear leader in the group. And I know this would be a kind of a different dynamic than we're used to, a woman being the leader of a male group. But, it could be an interesting dynamic, whichever way she breaks on this, because I do think, she lights up a screen when she's on it. I mean, she's a scene stealer, I guess they would say. So, it'll be interesting to see where she kind of breaks in this group. But finally, the main event, MJF is now your AEW champion, 2-time, under 30. What did you think, Rob?
We walked in here saying MJF better win this match. I didn't see why he wouldn't win the match. MJF is coming into this was the heel that everybody wanted to love. He's leaving with the title. And again, that's one of these things that I want to watch tomorrow before I get too drunk, that I want to see what they say, how they say it, and who's going to step up and challenge him. There was a little animosity between Hangman and Swerve. Swerve looked good. Hangman, they all look good. But really coming out of it, the only thing is MJF is your champion and all is right in AEW right now.
Yeah. I thought, as far as the match itself, I thought it was good. I liked the finish. I know we kind of predicted that there would be a potential, Swerve cost Hangman or Hangman cost Swerve. But I definitely like the fact that they set it up where Hangman Page was in a position to win again. And that has been the reoccurring time. He beat Joe, he should have beaten Joe, and he should have won again on Saturday night. So I thought it put him in a good spot. I thought Swerve looked good. There were times that it looked like he was going to win. And then, through some underhanded tactics, MJF pulled it out. With MJF as the champion now, they actually did a good job of kind of secretly presenting this to us, but they didn't outrightly say it, is Bandito with the ring gets a world title shot. So that'll be coming in, 2 weeks. I expect Max will probably win back that ring for the 5th or 6th time. I don't expect him to lose to Bandito, but
has that always been a thing?
No.
I didn't think so.
Nothing about this year's Dynamite Diamond Ring was the way they've done it. But that said, they've also changed the rules 3 times, because it used to be a battle royal to win the ring. Then it became a battle royal where the last 2 guys would compete against each other to win the ring in a real match. And then finally, this year it was a battle royal. Then the following week they would wrestle each other. But Bandito's I think he's a good guy to have Max face right off the rip. Especially get him on TV. The one thing I mentioned it last week, but I do think with MJF, especially as the champion now, just the one thing he does that I just think I don't love is he's got to find a way, rising tides build all ships. He's got to find a way to make his challengers not seem like dorks every time he's cutting a promo on them. I get that's his gimmick, but I do think as the champion building these big matches, he's got to find that area where you can also make it that the person competing against him has a chance to win. I know he's better on the mic than a lot of these guys, and he's capable of shredding them, but he does need to find the way he does it, because at the end of the day, this is a pay-per-view company, and people aren't going to buy pay-per-views, see a guy challenge Max who they don't think has any chance to win.
See, but will we love MJF as much if he's not ripping them like that? I think, where I think you're wrong is I think he can rip people. It's just got to be the right guy. Like, let's put MJF where Jon Moxley was against Adam Page going into All In. Even if he's calling him a dork and a Texas redneck and all that stuff, you still want to see Adam Page beat the crap out of MJF. Now, MJF just coming back with his shtick that we haven't heard in 3-4 months now? It's been about 3 months, right? So yeah, he's gonna get those pops. But let's say he does it to Will Ospreay when Will Ospreay comes back. is he still going to get those pops that he's getting now?
Yeah. I mean, I get your point. I think the challenge is for people, when you talk about the real established main eventers on AEW, he can get away with that. I think if this is going to lead, if this is going to be a long title reign, and he's going to have, Hangman wrestle Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher was an established main eventer. I think those are the areas where Max has got to be a little bit more cautious with how he browbeats some of these guys, just because that's a guy that we're not 100% there yet as fans with them as challengers. So if this reign's going to be long and he's going to defend against a lot of people, some of those times he's got to be careful. But when he
Fair.
was the champion the first time and he defended against Joe or he defended against Cole or Bryan Danielson, he could get away with it because we knew Bryan Danielson was legit. He was a main event player guy, so we were going to back him.
Fair. That's fair. I get what you're saying now. That makes sense.
But yeah, so all in all, I mean, I thought it was a good pay-per-view, like we said.
Mhm.
Definitely led to, some interest in tomorrow night's Dynamite.
Yeah, there are 3 things coming out of this pay-per-view that I'm very interested in. So I will be watching Dynamite before the ball tomorrow night.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, flipping it over, I know we're kind of running. Did you have anything you want to talk about WWE side?
I mean, if Drew McIntyre doesn't win this, Drew McIntyre needs to go away.
100%.
Like that's all there is to it. I've been saying this for 2 months now. If Drew McIntyre does not win this, Drew McIntyre needs to go away. I don't care if he wins it only for a month to have Roman Reigns beat him and, Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns. I do not care. He needs to win this title or he needs to go away.
Yeah, I think even if it's the Chamber, I mean, he could lose it in the Chamber. He could defend it in the Chamber and whoever. But yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, if you expect Drew McIntyre to be a main event guy in 2026, which I don't know. I mean, sometimes the way they book him, I'm not really sure if that's what they're looking for. But you cannot have Drew lose this many times. And not only that, but just storyline wise, the fact that Drew now has the advantage. Like he picked the matches. He has done everything to get this. If he fails, it's like
I would rather have Drew win now, have Cody lose his goddamn mind, finally snap, go heel because he needs that title. He needs to be the captain, be that narcissistic guy that I love Cody Rhodes being, have him win at the Royal Rumble, than have Drew lose again. I'd rather have Drew have it for 2 weeks than for him to lose again.
Yeah, and it's been done before. I mean, I know now we're kind of at a new time where really long title reigns, but I mean, you look, just as an example, I mean, John Cena in 2006 lost the WWE title to Edge at New Year's Revolution, which is, was January, whatever, 5th or 6th. He won it back at the Royal Rumble 3 weeks later.
That's what I'm saying.
Main event of WrestleMania. Cody could do the same thing.
Right. Well, why can't we just let Drew have a win, please?
Yeah.
All right. Or let him go.
Especially long term, if you're going to have Drew, even if Drew's whole role going forward is going to be this guy that gets into championship matches for a couple main events, just the fact he could have just this little, check mark of beating Cody Rhodes will make those matches a lot more.
To your point, if you want to keep him at the main event scene, if you want him to be that gatekeeper for baby faces to beat to go on to the main event scene, if you want to, in case of emergency, break glass, he needs to win the belt. Yeah. He's been in the main event scene for so long. It's been 5 years since he's had a world title.
Yeah. And if he loses, I mean, obviously it'll be disappointing, but to your point, don't try. Don't break out Drew SummerSlam 2026.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
let's not try to pretend that that's going to be a viable main event.
Right. You need to win this match to keep him relevant.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. As far getting off SmackDown to Raw, I tell you, the CM Punk and these promos with Ron Breaker have been great. I mean, to the point that I'm surprised. We talked about the changes with Moxley. But if you listen to this podcast 6 months ago, we'd be saying Bron Breakker, that dude's not a main eventer. That guy cannot cut his own promo. And what those two have done, and I think part of it is they have kept this so big fight feel in their promos versus this is not some silly, oh, Punk, you quit 10 years ago. Oh, Punk, you went to AEW. This is an alpha in Bron Breakker saying, you're too old and I'm the young bull that's going to beat you. And then this is the older CM Punk who's saying, you are not ready to walk a mile in my shoes. And, this, as far as WWE, from the WWE side, from wrestling in general, I feel like this match next week on Raw has the best big fight feel I can remember in a long time.
So, you sent me your wish list for 2026, and on it had make Raw and SmackDown have more big events.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big event. This first January 5th on Netflix is a big event. Bron Breakker, you were seeing a maturation of Bron Breakker right before your very eyes. It's not in the background or anything like that. It is right in your face. The promos he is given are sensational. And I don't know if it's because it's with CM Punk, but you believe that Bron Breakker can beat CM Punk through his promos.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But anytime he talks to Punk or about Punk, I feel like he could beat CM Punk. You're right. He is that young bull. And CM Punk, I have said for last year, is that starting to show his old manness. And even in his promos, he feels like that old man happy to be here. And I feel like Bron Breakker is saying, I am your reckoning. And I love every second of it.
Yeah. And I hope obviously the match will happen before the next time we do a podcast. I will say, regardless of who wins, if Bron Breakker does beat CM Punk and become the champion, or if Punk retains, I just hope, because of the feel going into this match and the excitement and this big fight feel, I mean, it feels like a real fight that we're going into Monday night watching. I just hope they don't screw it up and have some sort of interference DQ finish. I know that's probably asking too much, and it's the safe out, but it will be disappointing to a degree. I'm not going to lie if this ends, because the feeling that I have for it right now, it seems like you're in the same boat. It's like, this is exciting. So,
and I would much rather have Bron Breakker lose cleanly and Punk sit there next week saying, I told you weren't ready, and him come back from it, than have a screwy finish.
Yeah. And I think sometimes losing clean, it's tough to come back from, but I think the feel of this match and the way this match has been booked, CM Punk can win this match clean, and Bron Breakker can win the Rumble. He can win the Chamber. We could do this match at WrestleMania, and no one's going to sit back and go, oh, we saw it on Raw and Punk won.
Nope.
I think the way this match feels, there can be a clean, decisive winner, and it's not going to lead to, oh, we can't do it again. So I do hope there's some decisiveness to it. But we shall see. Any other WWE
the only thing I got is on the sad news. Our lovable, huggable, dirty Dom Mysterio is on the shelf because of his deadbeat father. And I'm really sad about that. It didn't feel the same without Dom. Like, there were no boos or anything like that. I kind of missed Dom already.
I did hear some good news though today. It looks like it'll only be 3 to 4 weeks. So
that's it. So he's back for the Royal Rumble.
Yes. So he'll be back for the Rumble. He won't have to vacate the title or anything. So
the mask versus hair match is still on for WrestleMania.
Yeah, or the mask versus mustache match, whichever direction whatever Ray wants.
Versus mustache. As long as it's not eye for an eye again, I'm okay with it. Other than that, no, not much happened. I mean, they were all pre-taped shows, so it was all basically filler. Carmello Hayes, new United States champion, though we talked about that last week. It officially happened. So it officially, unofficially happened, I guess. But other than that, pre-taped shows, not much going on.
Yeah, I will say, to any of the listeners, if you can only watch 2 matches this week, I would say Carmello Hayes and Dragunov and Moxley and Fletcher.
Yep.
That would be your two matches. That Dragunov
Absolutely.
Carmelo Hayes match was fantastic.
And like, even though I knew the outcome of it, I'm still sitting
Yeah.
there glued to my seat. I wish Ilya Dragunov was 6 inches taller. Because he'd be a main event star, but he's too short. I know that sounds terrible, but like if he was the size of Drew McIntyre, he'd be a superstar.
Yeah. And I hope even, regardless of whether or not they continue with the weekly defenses or not, I mean, that was something always that was going to die eventually. But I do think having those right now, the United States Championship matches, whether it's for the title or not, but from Sami Zayn to Dragunov to now Carmello, has been the best part of SmackDown every week. And
I tell people all the time, the only reason I watch SmackDown is to see who's going to win the Open, who's going to face him during the Open challenges.
Yeah,
I mean, Carmelo's still a face, so I'm hoping that he does the Open challenges, but it's going to end eventually when a heel gets it, because heels don't do Open challenges. But I hope Carmello keeps it alive for a little bit longer.
And I hope to hell, after seeing that Dragunov Carmelo Hayes match and seeing what Carmello can do in the ring, not that we didn't know that, but that match really exemplified it. Please do not make his first feud for this title be The Miz.
The Miz.
I mean, I know it's so easy. It's such low hanging fruit, but come on.
Yeah, I'm not for The Miz either. Yeah,
if you want to have him face
okay.
The Miz on SmackDown, whatever. I won't.
I'd be okay with like The Miz doing an Open challenge and losing, but I don't want to see a month-long promo dialogue with The Miz and Carmelo Hayes. I don't need that in 2026.
No. So, well, that's kind of all I got, Rob. You got anything?
Nope. I mean, that's all I got. We'll wrap it up. Hopefully Ram found whatever he was looking for in his kid's closet. We will be back next week. The first one that we will have of 2026. We'll talk about wrestling, obviously, SmackDown, Raw, Dynamite. Maybe, hopefully, AEW follows up on what we were talking about. I hope you all have a happy new year. And until next time, enjoy your wrestling.